you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking at you, give me funny, lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
Thank you, Keith, and welcome everyone to The Collection. My name is The Boat, Brad Gilmore. So excited that you joined us for another episode of the show. If this is your first time checking us out, welcome. Welcome to The Collection. This is literally, like they say in the intro, a collection of my favorite conversations with entertainers throughout the landscape, whether that's comedy, music, movies, television, film, sports, wherever. We have them here on The Collection, and today is no different. Really excited to get to our guest today, but I want to remind everyone, if you're checking this out and you haven't left us a rating or a review in your favorite podcast app, go ahead and do so. It really helps us over here at The Collection. This week, just as all weeks, we are entertaining you with 3 brand new interviews, and this one is one that I'm sure you're all going to love. Let's find out who we're talking to this week on The Collection. And he joins us right now. You know this man from all of his stand-up comedy specials. You got a brand new one on Netflix called What a Day. He's got a brand new book coming out in the summer. He is the one and only Tom Papa. Tom, how we doing?
Hey, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, too. Congrats on the special. You know what? I want to kick this off with a little bit of a compliment for you because here's the thing.
Okay.
There's so many movies and television shows, directors, comedians, all these things. And whenever you watch any of them or take a chance on them, that is exactly that. It's a chance. You're not sure how the quality of the product's always going to be. However, with Tom Papa, I always know it's going to be a sure thing. It's a solid bet. You seem like somebody who takes a tremendous amount of pride in any product that you put out, and you really think about the quality of that product for your audience. Am I off base on that? Like, you're very cerebral about these things?
Yeah, I work very hard. First of all, thank you. That's very kind. I like hearing that because a lot of times you put it out and you're not sure, what people are expecting. So you think that there's a good chance it'll be funny. This gives me a good starting point for sure. But yeah, my whole obsession is I want to keep getting better. That's the thing that drives me when I'm doing stand-up and going on tour and writing the books. It's just like, I don't want them to be like, yeah, it wasn't as funny as the last one. I always am pushing, like, how can I get better and make this thing tighter or funnier or more meaningful? And so that's the thing that really, really drives me. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. Now, a new special, What a Day, is out on Netflix now. Here's my question. I've heard, I talked to Jay Leno on the show before, and Jay is famous for never doing a stand-up special because he says, I have all this material. I don't want to go out and do a special and waste it all. A lot of the times you hear something similar with musicians. They have their entire lives to write their first album, but once they put that out, you have a year or so to write your next album. Do you ever find yourself thinking about that kind of Leno philosophy of, if I put this special out, all this material I've worked on over the years is kind of not old news, but now I got to work on something new?
Yeah, but it's kind of like a different mindset. I think the way that comedy has changed, we can communicate with our audience and are expected to communicate with our audience through all these mediums all the time. On social media, they want to see more stuff. They want to see you on your specials. The audience is saying, you're funny, give me funny. And we have to give it to them. And I think that's a great way to work, and it is our job. So we have a new generation of people who have to keep writing and have to keep going and keep creating new stuff. And I think there's a beauty in that. I love old jokes, and if I have a great old joke, I'm allowed to do it again. I'll do it. And I love watching other comedians. If I see Jay come on and do a joke that I've seen before, I'm happy to see that joke. I don't think it has to be the first time all the time, because I know as a comedy fan, when I watch Seinfeld or Gaffigan and they go into a joke that I know and love, I like watching it again. So I don't think there's anything wrong with repeating material, but that should be small part of the new stuff that you're showing me, because look, comedy is always about the moment. That's why, like, you watch stand-up specials from even the greats. They're not as funny as they were in the moment at that year that they released it. So why not keep creating it? Why not keep current? And the only way to do that is to keep writing. So I think I would love it if Jay eventually put down a special, because he's so prolific. He's always coming up with stuff. I'd rather him give me something that I can watch in a special form and then move on and show me the new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when you have all that wealth of material, yeah, it is like sometimes comedy you think of when you tell the joke and someone knows the punchline's coming. It's not as entertaining before, but I don't know if I agree with that, because Seinfeld is still the number one show on television, and we've seen these episodes a million times, and the jokes still land, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. And even in stand-up, like Jerry has this great bit he was closing his act with about being in a public bathroom. And man, I was on tour with him for years, and I would watch him do that joke for years, and I would laugh every time. It's just funny. So yeah, this is a new era of comedy from when Jay came up, because there was no social media, there was no YouTube, there wasn't a way to watch all this comedy all the time. So I understand where he's coming from, because he came up a different way, but the game has changed.
We are talking to Tom Papa. He has a new special, What a Day, on Netflix. Also got a new book coming out next year. We're all in this together, so make some room. Tom, you filmed this special in Boston, and I always am kind of curious why a comic chooses the town where they film the special. I come from the world of pro wrestling, and we know certain towns are good wrestling towns. We know Chicago's going to be great. We know Dallas is going to be great. We know Orlando's going to be great. Mm-hmm. For you, why was Boston the right location to do this special?
Boston's a great comedy town. It's just one of those cities where the people are smart. They like a good time. The weather's just bad enough for them to be a little unhappy with their lives. So you bring comedy there, it always works. And I've always enjoyed being in that city. And I had the Wilbur on my tour, and I was like, why not film it while we're in the middle of the tour at a date that we were going to play anyway? They're excited that we're coming. I'm excited to go do it. Let's film it. And it worked out.
I talked to Bill Maher on the show before, and he was talking about how, certain jokes land differently in different parts of the country. He might say something in San Francisco that gets a big laugh that might get a couple of groans in Oklahoma City. You have toured all around the world. Most recently, I don't know how recent it was, but I did hear that you went to Lebanon to do a show. I'm curious in that. My wife's Lebanese, and obviously her whole family is. How was Lebanon as a crowd? Was it a fun show?
It was amazing. It was so great. This is 10 years ago, probably, maybe even longer. And it was this beautiful moment where it was kind of opening up to the West a little bit, and they were in a good spot. And growing up here, I think of the Middle East as this terrifying, scary place that was unknowable, and it's got to be just filled with anger and hate. And it could not be more opposite. It's this beautiful spot right on the water, and they would just bring us into these restaurants and treat us like family. And it was like, again, we're all exactly the same. These people have grown up in Civil War and all this stuff, but day to day, they just want to have a good meal and be with their family and get through another day and just live their lives. And it was a really great lesson in you have to show up and go see it for yourself, because what you're seeing on the news 9 times out of 10 is not the reality.
Exaggerations most of the time on our local news and national news, I'm sure. Hey, you have a book coming out. We're all in this together, kind of going off of what you just said. Everybody wants the same things, but this book is like it's a series of essays that you kind of talk about how we're all in it together because we're all kind of stupid the way that we handle these things, right?
Yeah, and we should embrace that. When you see
oh, trust me, I embrace it every day.
Acting like a moron on the street, yeah, you take that as a lesson. It's like, okay, I'm not the first person to live on this earth. I'm not the first person to try and get through the day. There's people who have been doing it for years, and we should learn from their mistakes. I think anytime you see a dummy on the street, you should thank them.
I love it, man. Well, that's going to be coming out next year. We're all in this together. The new special is What a Day. It's on Netflix right now. Tom, I really appreciate you taking the time this morning, and I really truly mean it. Whenever I see your name attached to something, I know it's going to be a quality product. So thanks for taking the time for us this morning. Congrats on all your success.
Thank you very much. Have a great holiday.
You too. Tom Papa, everyone.
Hurry up, tape running out.